Hey everybody, it's Lanz MacDonald. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute. I said this in my last video as well, but I just recently completed my master's, so that took up a lot of my time, but I really do want to start making videos more regularly, so welcome back. And before we get started, make sure to show your support by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps me out. Let's get into it. So since Valentine's Day is just around the corner and a lot of you may be going on dates or even just thinking about potential options, I wanted to make a video talking about the red flags that I think are super important to make note of in those early talking stages, just so you don't waste your time or potentially get hurt in the process. And on the flip side, it could be a positive indication that this is actually a really good match for you. So the first tip isn't necessarily a red flag, it's more of a preliminary caution that I think is super important to put as the first tip. So when you're in the beginning stages of a potential new relationship, especially on those first few dates, everyone is going to seem amazing at first because we're naturally inclined to present the best version of ourselves to other people. Your date is going to want you to think that they're this intelligent, spontaneous, adventurous person, which is natural considering we're trying to impress one another. But it's important to note that this person is technically still a stranger to you, and so it's important not to wear any rose-colored glasses and miss any potential red flags. So always have both eyes open and observe this person from an objective view, not the projected version of who you want them to be or who they want you to think they are. One of my favorite quotes is, "The issue with wearing rose-colored glasses is that the red flags just look like flags." I understand that the dating world can be really exhausting, especially if you're on things like dating apps, so you may be inclined to sort of force fit a connection, but I promise you, being happy and single is way better than being miserable in a relationship. Take your time, observe this person for who they are, and allow yourself to slowly ease into a potential match. The second tip may seem kind of obvious, but make sure that this person is not selfish or treating this date as an opportunity to brag about themselves. And trust me, this happens way more than you think. This can be that they love to talk about themselves and take the air out of the room, or they're constantly interrupting you to interject with their opinion, or it can simply be that every date that you guys are going on has something to do with their interests and they're taking no interest in your hobbies. Authentic people are going to take a genuine interest in you. They're going to be an active listener, they're going to ask follow-up questions, and at the end of the day, always trust that initial gut feeling if you're sort of questioning your connection. Tip number 3 to make note of in those initial stages of talking is if they are smothering right out the gate. It's a super big red flag. If this person starts calling or texting you constantly, if they want to see you every day, if they're already trying to integrate themselves into your friend group, your family even, run. You may be flattered at first, especially in that initial honeymoon stage, because you may think that this person just really likes you. But if this person latches onto you right away, almost in an obsessive way, it's showing early signs of control and toxic dependency. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but especially in those early stages, it's incredibly important that each of you both maintain your own personal interests and routines outside of that person so that you don't get involved too quickly, too soon, and lose yourself in the process. It also goes back to what we were just previously talking about in terms of wearing those rose-colored glasses, because when this person is in your immediate sphere constantly, you have no opportunity to actually step back and objectively reflect on how your interactions have been going so far. Not to mention, it's important to maintain a level of mystery. You don't want to get sick of each other too soon in those early stages and not give that relationship a natural time to breathe and grow as time goes on. And it kind of makes you question, what was this person doing before you guys met? Why do they have all of this time to just spend with you immediately? Why aren't they maintaining their own routines and their own hobbies as they were before you met? So tip number 4, people don't think happens as much as it does, but this has happened to me before and it's happened to so many of my girlfriends, and that is if they mention their ex on your date or at any point early on, especially unprovoked. Like if you're not asking about their past relationships and they just start talking about their ex, run. And I don't necessarily mean this person needs to be singing their ex's praises. It can actually work in the opposite effect where they're still super bitter about their ex, if they sort of describe themselves as a victim. All of those are strong indications that this person is not healed, they're still hung up on the past, and you need to get out. Another super important thing to make note of is if this is a recent breakup of theirs. I'm talking even 6 to 7 months, because more often than not, this person needs way more time to heal, and you're going to act more as an emotional or even potentially physical outlet for them than a genuine, healthy connection. And I'm not saying that there's a fixed time that people need to heal. Everyone's going to be different, but make note if there's a strong indication that they are still hung up on the past or they're using dates as an opportunity to distract themselves. And the other thing I'll say about exes, if this ex is still in your person's life in any way, that is a major red flag. I'm talking if they catch up once in a while, if they're still in mutual friend groups, if they're reaching out to ask how their family is or a happy birthday or a Merry Christmas, absolutely not. Some people may disagree with me on this, but if this person has shared the most intimate aspects of their life, I'm talking emotionally and physically, if they've been integrated into the family, that bond is inevitably going to cause issues down the line if this person is still in their life. We are human beings and it is simply how we work. You're going to feel uncomfortable that the ex is still around. The ex may potentially interfere. And most importantly, why do you want a partner that is going to keep someone that they used to love and date around? What emotional tie is still there that they're not willing to let go? So the fifth tip is potentially one of the most important indications that you can tune into at the beginning, and that is make note of who their friends are. You may have heard the phrase, what you permit, you promote, which basically means that the people that you permit to be in your life, especially those in your close circle, inherently promote the values and behaviors that you deem to be okay. So this person may claim to not be anything like their friends, but at the end of the day, the people that they choose to spend the most time with are going to have a direct impact on where they go on the weekend, who they interact with, how they treat other people, and how they treat themselves. When I think about when I am most successful and aligned, it's because I'm surrounding myself with kind, like-minded, and ambitious people who promote positive values. So on the flip side, if you are seeing someone whose sole ambition with their friends is to go out every weekend and hit on people, they're extremely immature, they lack ambition, or just general morals of being a good human being, chances are the person you're going on a date with also has those values. They're just trying to put on their best face in the initial stages and trying to claim that they're not like that. When I think back to the people that I really wish I didn't give my time to, I simply could have looked at their friend group and used that as an indication. And on that note, their friends are not your friends. I'm not saying that you can't be integrated into the friend group and have fun with them, but just as you are with your best friends, at the end of the day, if this person has any skeletons in their closet, their friends are not going to tell you. Stay safe, people. So basically, to summarize tip number 5, make sure to make note of who this person is surrounding themselves with, because more often than not, they are a direct reflection of who this person is as well. And this last tip is so important. Make sure you see your person in a high stress situation. One of the best pieces of advice my mom ever gave me is you never truly know a person until you've seen them angry or stressed. And this can take a long time, considering like what I mentioned at the beginning, this person is going to be on their best behavior with you, but it's very important if you're considering them as a potential partner to see them in moments of adversity. This can be things as simple as how they react when someone checks you out, how they travel with you. Do they have extreme road rage? Do they act childish or immature when you guys are having a disagreement? All of these little things provide strong indications as to how they emotionally regulate and maintain perspective. So some tips for making note of these things in the early stages are do something like an escape room or anything that requires problem solving. Or do something like go on a day trip together that requires you to do a little bit of travel and to drive with them and see them in potentially unforeseen circumstances like lots of traffic, weather, or anything that sort of throws a wrench in the initial plans. If they get really anxious and shut down, if they start getting super controlling, it's a very strong indication that they are not good at emotionally regulating. And not to mention, road trips are an excellent way to really get to know a person because it's a little bit more informal. You're not staring at each other from across a table like at a restaurant date. And it's just a great way to sit back, relax, listen to music, and sort of get to know that person in a more casual way. And if going somewhere isn't an option, you can also play those games that sort of spark controversial conversation. It's not only a great way to actually see what their values are around certain topics, but also how they communicate with you when they may potentially disagree with your opinion. So that's it for this week's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed these 6 tips to look out for in that initial talking stage to ensure that you're not wasting your time or if you're potentially a good match. And please make sure to leave a comment about future video videos that you want to see. I'm really enjoying reading your comments in the previous videos, so if you haven't seen those, make sure to go check those out as well. And if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next video. Bye!